Hi, I'm Daryl Hill. I'm a Black entertainment historian, archivist, and music journalist. After kicking off the evening with the incredible documentary Evil Gal Blues that talked about Dinah Washington's life, we had so much fun playing Lettucey's new album, For Dinah.
We're really excited to listen to Lettucey's For Dinah album with the original recordings from Dinah Washington on vinyl, which is my favorite medium for listening to music.
We started years ago having vinyl parties in our homes. We would go to different members of the club, we'd go to their house, and we'd bring our albums and play our favorite vinyl. So this was a way to kind of bring that back and also to expose to the public the importance of original vinyl because of the instruments that are used and not the computer, so forth. So most exciting thing for me, again, is to celebrate Black history in this way and to showcase the life of Dinah Washington, and hopefully people will know more about her just like they know about Ella and Sarah and some of the other greats, because Dinah Washington is definitely in that category. Dinah Washington, who we're spotlighting today, went to high school right around the corner, and there's a street named Dinah Washington Way, which is right around the corner as well. So what better way to celebrate Black History Month than to honor Dinah Washington right in her old neighborhood?
I want people to leave with some new piece of knowledge, information that they didn't have before they walked in. You know, the intention behind partnering with a historian like Daryl Hill is that he is a treasure trove of historical facts. And so I really hope that people take away some of that information that was given. And then also, you know, the fact that there's so much music out there left to be explored. So I really hope that folks take the time to just really dive into Dinah's discography, sink their teeth in it, and continue to explore the music of this great legend. I'm Keith Green. I serve as the Executive Director for the Chicago Black Gay Men's Caucus. Our organization is focused on advancing health equity specifically for Black, gay, bisexual, and same-gender loving men. We also have a very intentional focus on workforce development and specifically the healthcare workforce and the workforce pipeline. Right? These are very challenging and difficult times for the people who are serving us in healthcare, and so we want to make sure that we provide spaces and opportunities for folks to learn together, grow together, network, and fellowship.
I am the niece of Dinah Washington. My 86-year-old mother, Clarissa Smith, is her sister. It was an amazing experience. We got to meet so many different people. We also got to go to many productions, plays that were in her honor. I also love listening to my mom's stories, and that's how I came up with my book. So this is all of my mom's memories, so it's all factual. The Adventures of Dinah Washington, my labor of love. Also, what people don't know about my Aunt Ruth, because that's what I call her, everyone else calls her Dinah Washington. She also worked with the Civil Rights Movement, so I have a photo of her with Martin Luther King and Ralph Abernathy. This event is awesome because anytime that I see someone that's trying to bring light to who she was as a person, that is the best feeling ever. I was very excited when the Respect movie came out because her and Aretha Franklin were very close. So it was nice to see her portrayed by Mary J. Blige, and then also the Lifetime movie. That was amazing. And this event is amazing as well. I would like everyone to take away that she was a trailblazer. She was one of the first women to headline in Las Vegas. So she was a phenomenal performer, and she paved the way for many artists like Mary J. Blige and Beyonce.
I found in my research publicity photo, Dinah Washington and the Dynamites, and it was her two sons, and they were posed in a photo. So can you talk more about her sons? And I'm wondering, did they actually record with her, or did they perform in concert, or what happened to the two sons?
All right, my fabulous cousins, Robert Grayson Jr. and George Jenkins. Those are her two sons, and they were the Dynamites, and they did actually perform with her. So they would dance, and they had a wonderful little act. It didn't go on for very long, but they really liked it and they enjoyed it.
I wanted to also mention that the name of the album was Unforgettable. So in 1963, at the end of the year, Dinah passed, and Aretha Franklin was a huge, huge fan of Dinah Washington. She released an album the very next year called Unforgettable. It was all Dinah Washington songs. And if you have not heard that, it is totally different from Respect and I Never Loved a Man and all of the Atlantic soul music that she became famous for. And another thing that's really interesting, they mentioned in the video that they called Dinah Washington Queen of the Blues. And that, again, was because of the attempt to try to categorize and put a name on black music, because she could sing a lot of things, and she was jazz and pop and R&B as well. So she was known as Queen of the Blues. She was known as Queen of the Jukeboxes because they were playing her records on more jukeboxes than anybody. So as I said, Aretha was a huge fan, and she idolized Dinah Washington. And the very next year after Dinah's death, guess who was crowned the Queen of Soul? Aretha Franklin at the Regal Theater in Chicago. So, we stand on the shoulders of so many, and we have to really acknowledge that. So my trivia question, before I switch seats with Kristen, is we've been playing 33 and a third albums, and that's the revolutions per minute, right? RPMs of how long it takes to go around. And then we held up to 45, right? And I have a lot of memories of 45s growing up in Chicago and having block parties and Jimmy Mack and James Brown and Respect and the little records and with different colors. But who can tell me what the third most popular? 78. So yeah, and I never had a lot of reason to play a 78. So I don't know what they were used for a lot. Maybe it was back in the 20s or something. I don't know.
Well before my time.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Hill. Next we have 6 guests who attended Song for Song, and they'd like to give their perspective of Dinah Washington and legacy and the event.
Hello, my name is Charles Grant Jr.
Hi, this is Brad Marcus.
Hi, my name is Navista Keys.
Hello, my name is Jason Gray.
Hi, my name is Kara Washington.
My name is Joni Jackson.
All right, so you're interested in knowing if I think people will be interested in Dinah Washington's music based on what Legacy has done. Dinah Washington, her music focused on jazz, blues, and traditional pop. Legacy used all of those genres, but she added neo soul and contemporary R&B. So I'm thinking that because she added those 2 new genres or styles in the music that she is presenting, that will lend itself to people wanting to know the origin or the history of the music she sings.
absolutely. I love Lettucey. I actually appreciate that she did this project because it gave, it gives people an opportunity to learn more about Dinah Washington, because Lettucey, someone of her caliber doing a Dinah Washington tribute at this era, or this point, it's kind of like, it'll make people be like, who is Dinah Washington? But then, it's gonna be in how Lettucey decides to market it. Like, how does she want to market this project to her audience? Is she targeting the younger audience? And then how do we tell those stories? Part of it, I'm inspired to do a bit of a tribute to Greg Porter and Nat King Cole. And so one of the songs that sticks out, Greg Porter does, I found out on my way to Harlem. And that song like that, so like that era, that generation, those big songs and those big voices, that kind of reverberate through the generations. I think this is a good opportunity for particularly my generation, Generation X, Lettucey's generation, to kind of retell the stories. Talk about the music that inspired us and help the new generation be inspired by it in a different way. Everything is social media now. Everything is, online. So, I have conversations with my mom all the time. She's like, I don't know any of that stuff. And I'm like, Mom, it's nothing to learn it, right? Because, the younger generation is looking at us. So we have to be willing to step out and do things a little different to tell the same stories in order for them to relate to it.
So you want to know about Lettucey's album, how I saw that, how I interpreted it. I didn't know about the album, and I was pleasantly surprised. I liked it in many ways. I mean, she kind of changed it around. She did it in a different style. In one way, it's good. The other way, it's different. It's a different feeling than Dinah. But in some ways, I think she really did reach out and try to capture something about Dinah and make it where the people now would understand. So I think it was successful. And I'm glad that you had the event because I didn't know about it.
Lettucey's interpretation of Dinah Washington's songs, it moved me. It certainly moved me. With today's social media, and I think about the young generation, I don't know that she would actually be able to bring in a newfound interest of Dinah Washington to a younger generation. One would hope, but I believe that there's so much pulling at today's generation that a current artist making a album based on somebody else's songs from generations ago may not necessarily translate. One would hope, but I'm not very optimistic.
Ooh, interesting question, whether Lettucey will inspire a new generation. And I think probably will, right? After going to Song for Song, I talked to a number of younger people I knew. They were less familiar with Dinah Washington, but familiar with Lettucey. And I know she's on tour now, so they were really excited about that. So I think that's going to generate more interest in her music and her life.
I would hope so. It's hard to really know what motivates the younger generation these days. I believe that there is a real disconnect between the younger generation and the older generations, a disconnect that's not really apparent, or it wasn't really in the same disconnect. I think, when with our parents, I think that we look to our older older generations and look to them as for motivation and guidance. I don't think that's happening as much now. With that said, I'm hopeful, and Lettucey's interpretation definitely is a bridge, I think, that will enable some younger people to find their way to Dinah Washington.
What was it like attending an event in Bronzeville? The fact that Dinah Washington actually went to school around there was pretty lit. I like Bronzeville. It's like when I first moved to Chicago, when I would come to Chicago all the time. I used to live in New York. I'm from D.C., so Bronzeville was always that part of Chicago that people were like, oh, that's the most like Harlem, right? So it always resonated that way for me, like particularly, and it made me want to learn more about the history of Bronzeville. So to know that she was an integral part of that, it made me want to learn more about, her history in Bronzeville, and then, the connection she had to New York and Detroit and all the other places. So I just feel like, kind of brought me back and grounded me a little bit in the space I was in.
Attending an event in Bronzeville, you know, I take for granted Bronzeville and the history that we have in that area of our city. I've lived in the city of Chicago most of my life. I grew up in a couple neighborhoods nearby. I've got older or deceased relatives who had businesses in Bronzeville, and you just don't think about it enough. And so actually having the opportunity to go to an event at a space I didn't even know about, and having the history around that area of the city, it was enriching. It makes you realize that you can't just take things for granted. There's so much of our culture that was cultivated both prior to people arriving in Bronzeville and while they were there. And you look at all the different pictures and history that it highlights our existence in Bronzeville. It's just a shame that someone who lives here, don't really know much more about it than I do.
What was it like to attend an event in Bronzeville? I live near Bronzeville, and so I'm very familiar with the neighborhood, and it's always great to attend events and to patronize businesses in Bronzeville. So it was great to be there, and also being very near the high school that she attended, which I didn't know about. And I know that there's a street, Dinah Washington Way, I believe, that's right there, and that was awesome to really learn that. I think I probably knew it, but just didn't even, it didn't really register. But watching the film, it really hit home that she, was from this neighborhood and was such a powerful creative force, and that the neighborhood, continues to reflect that.
Oh, attending an event in Bronzeville. So I was actually very familiar with the Bronzeville neighborhood before that, because I don't live far from there, but I did learn some tidbits, one about the high school that's right around the corner, and I didn't know that there was a Dinah Washington Way, that it was a street named after her. So attending an event in Bronzeville, I did learn something more about the neighborhood.
I actually lived in Bronzeville myself in the early mid 1990s, so I got to know the neighborhood pretty well, and a lot of people, older and younger, and I knew a lot of her connections. I felt her presence there as I would be around in the neighborhood. So I felt at home, and I was glad that it was in Bronzeville.
What I know about Bronzeville is because I visit the Delta House quite frequently. So I am familiar with that and the hospitals around there. I don't know a lot of the Bronzeville history. I don't know as much as I should know. So I'd like to get some more information about that. I did know about Phillips High School. I didn't know that it was a street named after her. So that was great to know.
I was at the street naming event, and I actually helped, Al Carter Bay helped put it together, and he had no connection to Dinah's family, so I was enabled him to contact them and get them involved.
I think if Dinah Washington was alive today, unfortunately, I don't think that she would fit into the music industry. The music industry is very ageist, and so I think that she would be considered to be too old, even though she's not, which is unfortunate. And also, she doesn't have the stereotypical look. So I really think it would be hard for her to fit into the industry today. I think that it was important for Dinah Washington, in her mind, to take these pills in order to fit an image that she believed she needed to satisfy in order to sell an image. But also, I'm sure that others around her believed that she needed to meet certain standards as well. And the sad thing is that this is very true today. Women are, under a lot of pressure, I think, to look a certain way. And I can only imagine being in the entertainment industry, feeling that pressure, 10 times over from the ordinary, woman out here. I didn't realize she had struggles like this, and, notwithstanding her talents and other just her success. She felt that wasn't enough, that she needed to look a certain way. And the only way that she felt that she could achieve this was through taking some, pills that ultimately led to her demise. And I just felt really saddened by that. But it's really because it's also true today.
For Dinah to take the pills to sleep, to cope, and to exist in an industry that probably shunned someone like her had to be a tremendous amount of pressure. And I believe it probably continues today. And I can't imagine having to feel the need to do all these things that are not necessarily you just to fit into a system, an existence to make your living. It's unfortunate, it's very sad. I can't say I understand it, but from an outside looking in, knowing that that's what the industry required, it's unfortunate that she had to do that, which ultimately led to her death at such a young age. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she was 39. I might be wrong. But for her to have that much history and that much talent and just passion for what she did, to not have a life beyond 39 is just a shame.
Dinah Washington, in her later years, she spent a lot of time dealing with her image, with her weight, and she, in order to perform, she would take drugs, take medicines. I don't know if it's amphetamines, barbiturates, different diet pills. It did affect her. I wish she could have overcame that, but there's a lot of pressures. Maybe it's part of being black in America. I think she did pretty good in general in her life. She was very strong throughout.
Why do I think it's important to make sure Black History Month is not erased? I think I want to speak to the larger point. It's more important that Black history generally isn't erased and that we're not necessarily relegated to a month. Personally, considering all the contributions that Black Americans have given to society, I look at that as an opportunity for us to explore the other contributions that other parts of society have given us, right? We're getting a new Homeland Security secretary, but most people don't understand that this guy is a Cherokee Indian, right? From Oklahoma. He passes as white, but he's an Indian. He's full-fledged Cherokee tribal Indian. And so that's an opportunity for people from his tribe and where he's from to kind of give their history and how they've been impacted over the course of years and how they want to tell that story. So this is an opportunity for him to tell a story. But, I feel like as it relates to us as Black Americans, we have to not just tell what our stories are. We have to kind of transcend that. We have to not just say this is where we come from, but this is who we are and this is who we're becoming. And this is how we're looking at the universe as we move forward.
So we're talking about the importance of Black History Month, and because right now there's a lot of news and politics where they're trying to downplay the importance of it. And the question is, should it be still encouraged? Should it be important? And I would say absolutely yes. For one thing, the general public that hasn't been through the Black experience, they have no idea what it's like. And they should try to be compassionate and understanding. It's not about that Black people are trying to enforce their culture on other people. They just want to be appreciated for who they are and their contribution to this country. So I think it shouldn't go away at all. It should be all year. It's not just a month, it's all year. That it's very important. In the music of people like Dinah Washington, it's a spiritual and cultural language.
The need to keep Black History Month alive and well is not really a controversy. It's simply something that needs to be continued to be taught. There's a section of the population that wants to remove things that make them feel uncomfortable. But the reality is that's all of our history, and we learn from those mistakes that were made before. We also, some of us get inspired to make sure those things don't happen again. And the fact that we even have to have that conversation or this question is absolutely ridiculous. There's a lot of history that is not necessarily positive, but is in fact history that everyone back then were living. And those that are still alive now need to understand as much as we can so that we can eradicate some of the BS that we had to deal with, but also hopefully grow together as a community across the world to make some of those things never happen again.
We should continue to fight for Black History Month because our contributions as Black people are important and they should be acknowledged. Also, our experiences, our struggles, the hardships that we've endured, they need to be remembered by all of us. It's everybody's history, and unfortunately, because of efforts to eradicate Black history, we really have to fight that much harder in order to make sure that the history is not lost and that all of us remember it.
How important is Black History Month? I think that the times that we're facing now and the efforts to erase our history, a history that we were not necessarily taught a great deal about in traditional educational institutions, I think it becomes even more important so that we do not lose that. So the kind of event, Song for Song, I think that we need to continue to see events like that because I think it's very important that we have someone who's kind of reinforcing what our history is and showing the positive. I mean, our history in this country didn't begin with slavery, but so often that's all we learn. So I think it's so important to hear about some of the giants in our culture so that younger generations coming along can see what they can become.
So it's important for us to continue Black History. One, Black History talks about our achievement and experiences which were often ignored or underrepresented. Also, there is a richness in our Black culture like music, art, food, literature, and traditions, which all make up American history. And that I think that everyone still needs to know what contributed to make America as it is today.
Yes, Song for Song, the event. What I liked about it, first of all, it was a great turnout. And I didn't know that a video existed that you showed us about Dinah Washington's life. I was really surprised that Amy Winehouse, because I love Amy Winehouse. And so when she died, it was kind of like, it was tough on me because just the type of music that Amy Winehouse sang, just kind of falls within my vein. And so to hear her so connected to Dinah Washington and to understood that she did her research and she knew her history and she kind of understood where she came from, it made me look at her in a different vein. And so when you look at these new icons that come about and these new legends that come down, it's really always interesting to understand what their influences were and to understand that Amy Winehouse paid that close attention all the way from London. That girl was 27 when she died? To know that someone of her age, with her issues and her background and all the things was that influenced in the type of music she did by an icon like Dinah Washington, it brings more resonance to her story. How did a girl like Amy Winehouse even know about you, right? So, that was nice to understand and to see what her influences were and who influenced her. And, that's even, the Aretha Franklin busting in the dressing room because it was a mess. That to me, that's probably the first thing I've ever heard of Dinah Washington. And that's probably my favorite story because everything I hear about legends of that generation, they all were pretty surly and they didn't have any cut cards. And that's just kind of the thing. So, that was nice to see. It was nice to kind of hear from her family and, understand a bit of her background in Chicago. And so it was really nice to kind of bring to life a bit of her story that I didn't really know.
Well, I hope there are more Song for Song events because this was an opportunity for me to be introduced to someone I knew very little about. I'm sure there are many others that I'm not as familiar And I think those who can attend such events will probably be exposed to new things and new personalities that we did not know about, at least as much as some of the other people do in the future.
I would just say that it was really great to learn so much more about Dinah Washington and her life, and just her the legacy that she left behind. I think it was just really enriching for me personally to learn those things about her, and it actually has me wanting to learn more about her. So I always can appreciate being introduced to something and then me wanting to do some more digging to learn more about whatever it is, and certainly Song for Song is something that has encouraged me to do more research into her life.
Dinah Washington, her music and who she was is important, and people should listen to all of the eras, the early era, the middle era, big bands, her top hits, her later songs. She connected to a lot of, they called her Queen of the Blues and Queen of the Jukeboxes. Her songs were extremely popular in the Black community and some worldwide. So I feel it's important for people to know her music and feel it.
During the event, I was so excited. I wanted to see that type of event in high schools. Students who are majoring in music, of course, they have to learn music history. But these kind of events where it's kind of like one-on-one, I think would be excellent for our high school students.
I think it's important for young people to learn about music, particularly that is rooted from artists like Dinah Washington, because it'll give them an opportunity to really start to explore their history. People don't tend to feel motivated to explore where they come from until they have some sort of inspiration. So I feel like in whatever way, I feel like this is a good way of Lettucey inspiring another generation to learn about Dinah Washington. And then, those people that are Lettucey fans, they can get to learn a little bit more about, where she comes from and how she's inspired by the things that she learned about Dinah Washington. So it just kind of, it's like a chain reaction. But I think we should definitely do more of this, particularly our generation, because, the younger generation is so inundated with all these other things that they're, everything's taking their interest. What are we doing? Like, what is the new rabbit hole on social media today, right? And if we could just get creative with helping them understand some of where they came from and what their musical history is, I think we'll be halfway there.
I want to thank everybody for watching. My role in Song for Song was to try and bring two generations of music together, Lettucey and Dinah Washington. I'm a Black music historian, and the Sankofa bird has always inspired me. Sankofa is a mystical bird from West Africa. And if you look at the bird, she is looking to the back, eating the food, gathering the eggs as she's flying forward. So this is important that we understand. To know where we're going, we have to know where we came from. The Song for Song event was an opportunity not only to enjoy the new music of Lettucey, but to also pay tribute to the shoulders that she stands on. If you missed Song for Song, the vinyl listening event, and all the fun, celebrate Black Music Month by watching the event here.
What a difference a day made. 24 little hours. What the sun and the flowers